My name is Scott Montieth, and I've been making music under the name Deadbeat for since 1999. And yeah, I'm a musician and sound designer and DJ. My first serious forays into doing music were as a result of being involved in the rave scene in Canada, in Toronto, during the mid-90s. And started as a DJ, and then later on, primarily with software to begin with, started making my own music. For me, a daily creative process and the act of doing and working is the most important factor. And there are days when perhaps inspiration doesn't strike immediately in the morning, but that as I say, the actual doing the work and going into the studio every day and making sure to create is something, anything, would be the sort of primary focus and the thing that drives me. And I think that there's in my mind that is also an aspect of keeping of maintaining happiness and mental health and you know, as well, like it's as well as being that a professional act and I feel very blessed to have been able to make a career of making music for the last 20 years. But it's also something, as I say, it's also a personal happiness and health aspect of things. And I really don't know what else I would do, really, you know, and I don't know what I would do without it. My creative process and my whatever compositional motivations are affected by whatever the social reality and political reality that are around me. The very act of going out and dancing together with people in a dark room where everybody is the same, and it doesn't matter what social background or religious background, economic reality people come from, that everybody within that context is the same. So in actual fact, the community aspects of electronic music are inherently political. I try to compartmentalize my studio work between pure creation and sound design activities, then going on to mixing and arranging activities, and then finally to like mixing and mastering stage of things. But in the first stage of things, in terms of sound design and the sort of raw creation stage, it really changes from day to day, and it's really, I think that's something that's again, talking about a sort of daily studio process. It's really important to be open to all possibilities and allow yourself to be guided by inspiration as it presents itself, regardless of whether that might be hammering out a rhythm on a table or playing a piano or listening to the birds outside the studio and recording the birds and using that as like, you have to be open to allow inspiration to strike wherever it is. I really try to really compartmentalize things, and I know that there's other people who will really sort of take an individual song or an individual track from sound design and initial creation ideas right all the way through to mixing and mastering in a single go. But for me, psychologically, it's really, really important to sort of divide those individual stages. And if you start worrying about how a sound is going to sit inside a track while you're making it, you're limiting yourself creatively. And I think it's important to be as free at this sort of initial creative stage as possible. Primarily, I mean, I started as an entirely software person. I still would say that I'm mostly using software tools. at this stage. I mean, we've got, I share a studio with my good friend Marco T. Raumschmieder, and he's got a lot more hardware than I do, and it's been, and also a lot of microphones and drum kits, and there's pianos and organs and lots of real instruments in our studio. So I've started to use things outside of the box more and more, but primarily my creative process still exists in software. And I use Ableton Live for composition, mixing, and recording everything. Yeah. I really have no idea. I can't imagine any sort of great revolution taking place stylistically or something like that. If we look back to like the early electroacoustic experiments and musique concrète and things, has been around now since the 1950s, you know. So we're talking about a form that has been explored for 60 years or 70 years, you know. So what completely new permutations of that might be possible doesn't seem very likely to me, that somebody's going to come with something really, really new. But that isn't to say that there aren't a lot of fantastic, great approximations and reimaginings to be had in electronic music for a really, really long time. The most important thing is getting the music to the people that that you want to hear it, and I think that well, it could be whatever. It's very entirely easy to upload a track as soon as you got it done and stick it up on SoundCloud and just sort of blast it out and hope for the best. But I think that labels still have an important role to play. And I think that it's still, while it seems may seem a sort of antiquated idea at this point, I still think it makes a lot of sense for young producers to do their best to get their music into the hands of labels that they like, and if for nothing else, then to get feedback on it, even if it doesn't end up resulting in a release, you know. And I think the wonderful thing about the electronic music community is it's still it's a very cottage industry, and it's really not too difficult to get your music to people at even some of the bigger labels. Like they're all approachable. It's not like you're trying to get your music to Sony or Universal or having to talk to some corporate hack, you know. Like you can usually email any label in the big or small and end up getting an email back from somebody working there that'll whatever, at least give you a chance at it, you know.